So he's gonna sit in what schools? High school
Ah,
level or college level?
high school po. Kasi iniisip namin, sabi ko sa mga schools, I wrote a letter na kung pwedeng mag-sitting si Joshua to give him, para siya mag-decide for himself. Ano ba kayang level ang gusto niya? Gusto niya ba doon sa mga 12 and 13-year-old na mga peers niya po na or
Hmm.
kung sa senior high school ba siya or grade 10 ba siya or something kasi
Hmm.
sabi ko sa kanya kung yun si Micaela Fudulig at 13 years old gusto niya mag-college na kung ako sa'yo hindi ko siya namatay ba?
Hindi.
Hello?
Ano
Apo,
yan?
sabi ko sa kanya, kung ako, hindi ko masyadong gusto na gano'n. Gusto ko, advance siguro yung pinag-aralan ko, pero ako yon. Sabi ko, dapat ikaw mag-decide for yourself. Baka
Right, right, right.
sisihin niya kami, sabi ko. Tapos, sabi ko, kailangan po siyang ma-insert na sa system kasi medyo maano po siya, para may records po siya, no? So, next year,
Mm-hmm.
we
True,
plan to
true.
integrate him into the system
Mhm.
para po maano. Dito,
May record siya.
may record siya. Tapos kung baka gusto niya sumali po nga sa mga Olympiads or something in the future,
Oo. Yeah.
hindi po siya, kung wala siyang, hindi siya affiliated to any school, hindi siya
Hmm.
makakasali.
Might be. Okay. Sige, sige, sige. All right.
Mahirap po no? Kasi actually, kunyari po yung magsisitin siya first na school na pagsisitin niya, it's a private school. Tapos ang tinanong ko yung topic kakatapos ng mga 12 and 13-year-olds, alam niyo po yung topic pa lang,
Ano?
mag mag-start pa lang sila ng algebra kakatapos na lang ng decimals. Sabi ko, huh? Si
Mm.
Joshua kasi yung decimals ng 3 years old na parang
Yeah,
pinag-aralan.
yeah. Oo, well, of course, they have to cater talaga to the
General,
general studentry
yes. Ang hirap nga po
Ganun talaga. Ganun
Kaya
talaga.
sabi ko, Joshua, pero nevertheless, Joshua will give you that experience. And then, nagmingi rin ako doon sa mga schools ng permission kung pwede kong i-video. In the future, sabi ko, ipa-private ko lang yung videos. Pero, kung magkaroon ng opportunity na magkaroon ng ano na, ma-revive po yung ano na yung bill for the gifted, mapakita na kailangan talaga ng bill for the gifted para meron
Mm.
silang pupuntahan yung mga, sabi ko baka si Joshua hindi na makinabang po doon or yung schools na mga mag-aalaw kay Joshua na ire-record, hindi kayo makikinabang kasi hindi naman pupunta sa inyo itong mga Pilipinong batang
Mm.
ito. Pero sabi ko, nevertheless, Pilipino yan, kahit huwag natin isipin na Pilipino, human beings yan,
Just a student. Oh, just a person.
we need to provide them with something
Com
na yung
mm.
conducive na environment lang. Kasi sabi ko,
Okay.
yung mga, uh, yung mga nasa other side of the spectrum po, di ba? Meron silang
Sped
pupunta
schools.
mga SPED.
Oo.
Yung susunod na ano po, yung next na ano po, SPED
The
po
other side. Okay.
Sabi ko, kailangan natin silang, we must make the people become aware. Tsaka, sino ba naman yung salita ko, yung salita ninyo, wala makikinig. Iba po yung impact ng videos, di ba po?
Mm. It's more visual mga tao kasi mga hindi magbabasa yan Hindi babasahin. It's not gonna make an
Oo,
impact It's
I
not
hope.
visceral enough.
Ganun, nung una, sabi lang kasi kailangan pa ng permission do sa mga parents. Sabi ko kung
Actually,
magka-PTA
iyon nga.
meeting, I can attend and I will be the one to plead
Oo.
on behalf of yung mga other Filipino kids. Sabi ko baka si Joshua hindi na makinabang. Pero nevertheless, naisip ko, kailangan, when Joshua was younger, biro niya nakilala namin kayo po, di ba po? Ako, I attribute it to the grace of God na meron nagtuturo kay Joshua na katulad ninyo.
Mm.
Sabi ko, I
Pagkataon.
promise when Joshua was younger na, oops, lagi natin isisingit yung bill for the gifted para may social relevance yung binigay sa ni God. Tapos ang naisip
Gotcha.
ko, sumulat ako ng letter una about Joshua lang. Pero sabi ko, parang it doesn't sit well with me kasi parang porke may nagtuturo na kay Joshua, kinalimutan na natin yung promise natin
No
kay God.
iba.
Sabi, ay, hindi yata ganun. Sabi ko, kasi sabi ni God, ay, ganyan ka pala pagka nakuha nyo na yung gusto niyo.
Kung gusto, yeah, yeah.
Okay, wag. Sabi ko, so, sabi
Kumbaga,
ko,
pave the way.
noong unang ano po, pati sa Don Bosco, na dati kasi malakas po yung mga Soliman, pero hindi ko nakilala, bata na po yung mga pari ngayon. Eh. Hindi ko na sila
Mga retired na nung mga dati,
Opo, so
siyempre.
dati
May mga rayuma na,
open sila, pero ngayon bata, hindi very may resistance. Sabi ko,
ibang ano,
God, sabi ko, dapat kayo na po mag-inspire sa kanila. Sino ba naman ako? Sabi ko, napakikinggan nila ako. Sino ba naman si Joshua? Wala namang pangalan pa si Joshua. Sabi ko, inspire nyo na lang po sila para pumayag sila. Kung hindi, sabihin lang namin, we tried and it's not yet time.
oh,
So sabi ko ganun. Sabi ko, so remains to be seen kung papayagan kami mag-video, pero naka-schedule po si Joshua na mag-sit in, hopefully payagan. Sabi ko, not for Joshua, and sabi ko, hindi sigurado ko yung mga schools ninyo, hindi dito papasok yung mga yon kung magkaroon ng bill for the gifted. Hindi kayo makikinabang, pero we will do something good. Kasi yung mga maimbento nito, ma-contribute nito sa society nito, mga batang gifted, makikinabang lahat tayo. Sabi ko, ganun ang sinabi ko po eh. I hope na ma-inspire sa po ng ating Panginoon para matuloy, at hopefully sana matuloy po.
sige, sige. Joshua, are you forwarding the other solution? Or are you writing it down?
Where are we? Ah, ito. Copy.
Baka nung chicharon nung ano nung solution. Hindi, yun lang naman ng other thing na nakita ko pa.
Ay, wrong. October 29 yan.
Oh, dito, hold on. May nakita ako, October 5.
Oh
Sorry.
no!
Maybe is this it? Ito ba yun?
Ito po. Finish ko po sa October 29. Or dapat October 5 bilang.
Hey, but is this it? Is this the thing that
Abo, yan.
okay, sige, let's go through the problems one at a time. First, the one from ito. Yeah, okay, so your co-host na record. Okay. So the problem
Tonight po, magpapadala daw siya ng solution. Hindi lang niya natapos yung
ng
ginagawa.
pagsulat. Alright, sige. Okay. So okay, no, you're already recording. Okay, it says recording. So we have a triangle ABC in center I, and then AI meets the circumcircle of ABC again at point L here. And then let L sub A be the reflection of the in-center I with respect to L. So that means IL equals L sub A, and the 3 points are collinear, actually along with A. So you have the 4 points, A, I, L sub A, all collinear. And then task number 1, show that I, B, C, and LA are all concyclic. And in fact, they lie on a circle with diameter IL sub A. So I think the problem statement is fortunate because it actually tells us what the center is supposed to be. Because if ILA is the diameter and L is the midpoint, that should mean L is the center. Okay, so it suffices to just show that I, B, C, and LA are equidistant from L. By definition, LA and I are reflections of each other. So that means LI and
Abo. So kung may let's say po may point, tapos may triangle, tapos may homosette, may in-expand, dilate po siya. Can I call that other triangle a homosity? With respect, ano po kasi yung term doon?
Oh, well, homothetic. So in an adjective. So the two triangles are homothetic to each other with respect to point P. So homothetic. Or pwedeng homothetic image. the word image can be used in general to refer to the result of a transformation. But kasi there are many different kinds of transformation, diba? Translation, rotation. So these are all images in a certain sense. So homothetic image or the image under the translation.
Apo.
Okay. So ito, what you did here is show that LB equals LI equals LC. So the idea is to show that BIL is isosceles, and that's what you did. And actually tama naman na basa ko na naman ito. So the first part and even the second part, they're all correct. My comment is with the solution though, kasi what you did in number two, and it's correct now, show that LA equals I sub A. So in other words, show that L sub A is actually the AX center. So what was your strategy? Your strategy is to show that L sub A is the intersection of the B and C external angle bisectors. Okay, so how did you do that? You did it by showing that okay. So I think ito yun. Let me make this larger. Okay, so at least we can now focus on this part. So you showed that, okay, BCLA is half of angle A plus B. Therefore, CLA is an external so LCLA half, then okay. Wait, BCLA is half of angle alpha plus beta. Okay, all right. Kasi ano nga pala, no? This is angle C. So ibig sabihin, this would be the supplement, but then A plus B plus C adds up to 180 degrees. So ibig sabihin, if this is angle C, then that means the supplement, this is going to be angle A plus B. And then what you did is show that BCLA is half of that. All right. Okay. So you're right. That is correct. Okay. Let me just present to you an alternative. Let me present to you an alternative. Kasi a different approach. Ganito, no? Let me draw a triangle. And then here is, let's say, the in center. So ito ng A, B, and then C, and then so the in center is I. And then let me draw this particular extension of AB. And then let me now draw the external angle bisector for angle B. Okay. How are this B internal bisector and B external bisector related to each
We
other?
are perpendicular, complementary.
All right. Right. So you get that 90-degree angle there. Okay. Now, if we go back to part A, weren't we able to conclude that IBCLA are concentric and then ILA is a diameter? So you have this circle IBLAC, and then in fact, ILLA is diameter. But then, if that's a diameter, what can we say about this angle IBLA?
Right triangle.
Right triangle, CIBLA. Right triangle, kasi this angle subtends a
Then
semicircle.
I literally drew it, but then I could not see it.
Okay. So ibig sabihin, because IB is part of the B internal angle bisector, and you have a 90-degree angle there, then it follows right away that BLA is on the B external angle bisector.
No!
Gets, kita mo? So BLA is immediately on the B external angle bisector.
Yes.
Diba? All right, all right. But of course, what you did is correct. I just wanted to present that perspective. Okay.
Opo,
Did
I think this is called ano po, the in-center, ex-center lemma.
I think so? The in-center ex-center lemma. Uh,
Opo.
ayan. So ang galing no kasi the in-center and the ex-center are well, we already know that they're going to be concurrent, but it's nice to see that their midpoint L for I and I sub A, their midpoint L is concyclic with ABC.
And it's on the circumcenter circle po.
Yeah, on the circumcenter of ABC,
Opo.
right? So yeah, concyclic with ABC. You're right. Okay. So now wait for this page. Was there anything left over? Wala. Sa other pages, meron mga leftovers. So itong October 5. So I had, wait for which one is this? Oh, it's for the first problem. So D is the point of contact of the in circle of ABC with side BC. Okay, so I, and then basically from the in center I, you drop the perpendicular to BC, that's what point D is. Let's suppose IO.
I took a very long time procuring the solution.
Well, yeah, it's important. It's however long it took you, you at least got there. Right.
Opo.
So sometimes ganun naman talaga eh. At first, it takes us longer. Okay. So suppose if BC is horizontal, so suppose IO is also horizontal. Show that AO and HD are in fact parallel, where IO, H are the usual. Okay. Ito hindi ko pa nababasa. But apparently na-post mo na pala, no? So let me zoom in. Okay, squishies. Silly but. So let D be the okay, in touch point. Okay. So let P, Q, and R be the midpoints of the three sides, and G is the center. So I see
Ano po?
AG,
Nakita ko po eh. Parang,
AB.
it looks rather three-dimensional. Okay, squishy.
Okay, squishy. Okay. Okay. Medyo ng resolution ng figure can be improved, but all right. So anyway, there exists many proof of what claim about the Euler line that AH is, well, okay, AH is perpendicular to BC kasi H is the orthocenter, so AH is part of the A altitude. And then OP is perpendicular to BC because O is the circumcenter. So that means AH and OP are parallel. And then furthermore, HAG is equal to GPO, yes, because of that parallelism. Therefore, POG and HAG are similar. And so AG is twice GP. Oh yeah, because G is the centroid. So that makes AH twice PO, or right? Okay, so that's a particular claim. AH is twice PO. So AH is twice PO, where P is the midpoint of BC. Okay, we want to show AO and HD are parallel. Okay, some time ago, after proving, so when you write down your claim, what you prove kasi is a theorem or a result. So we don't prove the Georgian point, we don't prove the Nagel point, but rather we prove something about the Georgian point. We prove something about the Nagel point. So no wording na after proving both the Georgian point and the Nagel point, that's an inaccurate statement. Okay.
Ano po na?
Kasi we don't prove this.
F minus because I forgot grammar.
Okay. So maybe some time ago, after discussing both these points, we found out that BTA equals CD. Yes, where TA is the A X touch point. And so, in fact, one of the things is that actually CD is, so BTA is S minus C. Okay, because CD is S minus C. All right, so that means BTA is S minus C. And then ano naman nagkasulat dito? AH equals 2PO equals 2ID. So PO and ID are the same. Oh, because we are assuming IO is parallel to, all right, BC. So therefore, if we extend ID to point X such that XD is diameter of the in circle. Okay, so you should have pointed that out. Kasi ano given any 2 points, you could always extend that segment connecting them, di ba? Tapos, I mean, you could get many other segments, and they would generate many other circles. So here, you got to point out for a more tighter way of writing down your solution. So you would have to mention, ayun. Or how about let X be the point on the in circle such that XD is the diameter. There's a term, antipode. Let X be the antipode of D with respect to the in circle. What's the antipode? It's just a fancy term for halimbawa ito. Yeah. With respect to a circle, kumbaga the other endpoint sa halimbawa, if this is A, then the antipode is A prime. So it's the partner. It's the partner so that you form a diameter. Okay. So anyway, what we get is the following. AH equals XD. Why is that? Kasi AH equals 2ID. So, and then 2ID is XD. So, okay, AH equals XD. And then AH and XD are perpendicular to BC, so they're parallel. Therefore, AHXD is a parallelogram, which means that AX is parallel to HD, So that is correct. Let me go back to my drawing. So, HD, tapos nung AX parallel to HD. So I guess we just need to show O is on line AX.
So it's the extreme ano po eh, na? Parang the mental effort po I took to conceive. I need parallelograms to prove something is
Yeah,
parallel.
but that's just like what you need to do. You go backwards. You go backwards. Parang you try to think of what do I need. So and then you do it step by step by step. Okay. Okay, so we need to show AXO or collinear. So what do we have now here? PTA is BTA minus BP, and BTA is CD. Yep. And then BP is CP. So CD minus CP is DP. PTA is DP. So D and TA have P as their midpoint. So in the past, we proved that A, X, and TA are collinear. Yes, in fact, in October 5, sige nga, October 5 din ba yun? Okay. Yes, so actually, ito yun. All right. AX and TA are collinear. Now, let the perpendicular bisector...
Amalgamation po ito po ng mga previous problems.
Madami, di ba? All right. So that's how you use everything that you have accumulated along the way. Okay. So let the perpendicular bisector of BC. And perpendicular through P intersect ATA at Q. So we want to show that Q and O are the same, coincide
Q
with
and
each
O.
other. Q and O. All right. So as is evident here by leg angle similarity, P, T, A, Q, this is basically like I say A, T, A, and Q, and then we with X, all right, and then kasi P, all right, that's gonna be half. Okay, PTAQ is similar to DTAX. Yes. So PQ is half of XD. Half of XD is ID, and ID is PO. All right, so there you go. PQ equals PO, and yet Q and O are both on the perpendicular bisector. So that means PQO are collinear, and they're not on opposite sides. Right? Kasi from the figure, O is above BC, Q is above BC, so they're on the opposite side. So that means Q is O. Therefore, A, X, and O are collinear. So AO is in AX, therefore AO is parallel to HO. That's correct, Joshua. Correcto.
Correcto.
Tama. Okay. All right, so that takes care of this. So check. Let me see though if there's another. Yeah, all right. Hindi na ako nakapag-isip if there's another way. Kasi of course it's always fun to see other options, other ways of proving something. Pero right now, I wasn't able to think of it. So for October 5, we still have that this problem left over as for October 5. And then from the September questions, this has
sa
been
October
addressed.
5 po, mamaya, siguro mga few minutes mamaya after the,
All right. Okay, cool. Ito, you Kasi these are all related to this particular problem. So there are 3 bullet points here
Bullet points. Gawin mo na yun.
na show mo na nung last, but the previous 2. So let's see if we can think this through. So remember this setup from the 9-point circle. So A, B, C, and then red points D, E, F are the feet of the altitudes. So that's why, for instance, AD contains H, the orthocenter, and then K is halfway through from A to H. And so that's what the green points K, M, and L are. And then A prime, B prime, C prime are the midpoints. First bullet point, show that AK, AO prime is a parallelogram. So this is A, K, A prime, O, so they actually form a parallelogram. So that would be at this point A, K, A prime, O. So they form a parallelogram. Relative to BC, if BC is horizontal, then AK is vertical. A prime O is also vertical. So it suffices to show that A prime O equals AK, to show that we have a parallelogram there. Okay. AK is half of AH, so AK is equal to KH. So if we could show A prime O, is that equal to KH? A prime O, is that equal to KH? Can you see?
Aba po.
How? So kahit i-describe mo na sa akin, why are A prime O and KH congruent?
So yung isa po, the congruent triangle siguro to. So,
Yeah,
yung
yeah. Which
K and
ones?
O and A and K and H, yes.
Yeah, you mean O and A prime
Opo,
and
so parallel sila. Parallel yung A, O, and K, H.
yeah.
Then, O and, wait, we didn't prove that yet. O and A and K and H are congruent, so therefore they are congruent, the triangles.
Okay.
O and A and K and H. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, A
Congruent.
prime O is congruent to K,
Okay.
H.
That's it. All right, so that's it. So you're right. O and A prime and K and H are congruent triangles by, well, ano nung reason mo? Why are they congruent? And you're right, they're
A
congruent.
prime O is parallel to KH. And
Okay.
and the O and A and K and H are congruent.
Right. O and A and K and H are congruent, so they're vertical angles. All right, so right. Well, hold on. That shows they're similar. If you're making an argument in terms of the angles.
They are similar, but how do you prove they are congruent?
Because if your argument is about the angles, they're similar.
ON is equal to NH.
That's it. So kailangan kasama yon. So you have to include an argument about the
Similarity.
sides as well.
Similarity, tapos parang reverse CP-CTC, sort of.
Right. Okay. So kasi you're right. Pwede din NK and NA prime are congruent. Kasi you have that 9-point circle pa nga di ba? Where N is the center.
Abo.
Okay. So that's one way to argue.
Or
So
SAS.
okay,
Kung ganun pala po. Pwede.
SAS.
Prime is congruent to
Okay.
NT. Blah, 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 yung abo.
Okay. Isa pang argument that I'm seeing right now. So kasi we already know that AK is parallel to A prime O. It suffices to show that A O equals K A prime. Kasi kunwari meron kang two segments that are parallel. Okay? Pero kasi kung kunwari, if one of them is longer, then if you draw these two segments, hindi sila magiging congruent. Hindi sila magiging congruent. Kung kunwari, nung right blue segment is longer. So if we could show that these two yellow segments are congruent, if they have the same length, okay, then that means even ito, or I mean, if you could show parallel and then congruent. Anyways, looking at these two, A, O, there, shapes segment. A, AO, and K.
Bro,
All right.
one
Yeah.
note
Okay.
casually destroying the standards of human living.
Okay. Remember the relationship between the circumcenter of ABC and the 9-point circle?
The homotity from H?
The homotity of scale 2.
Abo.
Okay. Under the so for that homotity, okay. So kasi ang situation is for the circumcircle, the radius is OA, right?
Abo.
And then for the 9-point circle, A prime K is a diameter.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wait. Oh, AO is a radius of the
Circumcircle.
So
Okay.
it is one half of the circumcircle. It's one half of the circumdiameter, is that what you call it? So KA is also one half of the circumdiameter because it's a diameter of the 9-point circle which is
Yeah.
homotopy shrink
Okay.
by a scale of 2. So therefore, AO is congruent to KA prime.
And also, in fact, they are parallel. Okay, parallel because in a homotopy, angles are preserved.
Yung OA prime is perpendicular, so is AK because AK protrudes into AH, which is an orthocenter. So if those are parallel and AO and KA prime are equal, then it must be a parallelogram.
Okay. I had to catch myself with what I said a little bit earlier, which because I said something inaccurate. Kasi ganito. I said it was sufficient to show that did this segment and the other segment are congruent. Pero kasi as you can show in this illustration, it's possible to have that congruence with the quadrilateral not being a parallelogram. You could have a trapezoid in this case. So what's important is that these two orange segments, not only are they congruent, but they have to be parallel as well. Okay, so kaya that's why we had to add OA and A prime K. Not only are they of the same length, but they're also parallel. All right, and in so doing, we have justified the bullet point which says that we do have a parallelogram. All right, so two arguments. So if you can think about it, please do so. KLM bisect the. I guess we could take the point of view of K. and then arc EF of the 9-point circle.
And then just do everything by respectively.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So all right. So I'll let you figure it out. So that's for this date, September 21, and then September 28, and then October 5. So October 5 meron pang isang problem. So now let's go to October 29. Okay, so because we haven't seen each other for a while, sinulat ko na lang I've had the opportunity to type. Okay,
So,
okay, so what I'd like to discuss are other geometric transformations. And because we're going to be discussing geometric transformations, it's less computations. It's going to be more argumentations, more paragraphs rather than solving and writing down equations. And so because it's more conceptual, then it's of a higher level of complexity. So what's a translation? A translation is one of the easiest geometric transformations there is. Okay. So when you do a translation, the main ingredient that's needed is a vector. Okay. A
oh no,
vector
wait,
has well, I'm referring here to vector as, I mean, there's a whole mathematics devoted to vectors and what we can do with vectors. And that is something that I would, of course, like to go into when we get the chance.
vector mathematics is rather scary.
Hindi, kaya yan. Okay. So a vector is a mathematical or physical object having two aspects to it. It has a direction and it has a length. Okay, so those are the two aspects of a vector. And when we perform a translation, so for example, this particular shape, when we perform a translation, what we're doing is we are moving all the points according to that vector. So what we then get is the following image. Okay, and so when you look at the particular image, the image is going to be a plane figure of the same shape. So
Literally just moved.
all right, so ayan. So if you have these points A, B, and C, so the image of ABC is going to be a congruent plane figure. And further, if you look at the images of particular segments, for example, the image of point A is A prime, and if the image of B is B prime, then we see that A, B, all right, it has the same length as A prime, B prime, but furthermore, it's also worth noting that AB is parallel to A prime, B prime. Okay, so a segment is translated to a congruent segment, which is parallel to the original. Okay. Now, of course, it is possible to solve certain problems, which can be solved by a translation without talking about translations.
But
Okay.
why not?
Well, if one's familiar with translations, then there's really nothing stopping us from thinking in terms of a translation. But when a translation is involved, what's important is that distances are preserved. Okay, so here first example, hopefully simple enough. There is supposed to be a companion drawing, which I'm gonna draw right now.
It must be too skillful, or I will consider it invalid.
Alright, let's move the problems. So here is point A. Okay, I've got here. Yay.
While
Okay.
using line tools.
Yeah. Okay. Also guarantees their parallel.
Oh, para it guarantees po. It's actually a cheat.
Mhm. So we have here point A, and then here is point B. So at what point should a bridge MN be built across a river separating two towns A and B in order for the path AMNB to be as short as possible? So kasi let's say this is if this is M, then this should be point N. So the problem assumption says that the bridge is assumed to be perpendicular to the river, and the banks of the river are assumed to be parallel straight lines. So you have a 90-degree angle here, a 90-degree angle here, and then this is AM, and then this is NB. So the question is, well, if we have identified point M on that upper riverbank, then that pretty much tells us how the point N on the other riverbank is supposed to be selected. Because if this is point M, then just draw this perpendicular, and where it meets the other riverbank, that's going to be point N. So the question is, how should we choose
What
M?
if we use calculus?
Oh, no, no, no. Okay. Well, of course, as well, we can use calculus, but if we're going to use calculus, then that means we have specifics. The coordinates of A and B should be given, and
No,
then we have
analytical
equations
problem.
for magana. Like I say, if you're going to use calculus, you would have to apply it on functions. And if you're going to apply it on functions, so you should define some variables here, and so that's easily done if you assign a coordinate system. Okay, but we could avoid that, of course.
But the real question here po is why are the engineers so stubborn at making the bridge perfectly straight?
Uh, Maybe for economical purposes.
Why can't they make it slanted so it will be the shortest possible distance from A to B?
Planted. I don't know. I could only surmise, but ultimately, I mean, this could just simply be a problem where you're hypothetically trying to figure out the shortest path subject to certain constraints. But maybe kasi if the bridge is gonna be slanted, maybe it's not as structurally sound as if it was straight. Kasi I don't know, maybe how you could make the connection, it's simpler rather than if it's slanted. I don't know. So I don't know that much to be able to discuss the benefits of having the bridge be perpendicular or slanted.
Hmm. Okay.
Maybe kasi if it's perpendicular, then it is cheaper kasi that would correspond to the bridge over the river that would have the shortest length.
Bro.
Pwedeng ganun, di ba? Okay. And perhaps maybe making a bridge, kasi maybe there are costs involved. Maybe kasi it's trickier to perhaps build something over water. Maybe if you're going to build a path over land, it would be cheaper than making a path over water. So maybe part yun ng consideration na, all right, you could compromise with the paths you make over land kasi you want to minimize the cost for making that bridge over water.
Abo.
So those could be some considerations. Okay, so what we got to do here is decide how we can make that happen. Okay. So um, one way to make that happen is, ito, I'm gonna copy the whole figure. Okay, and remove M and N. Okay, so tanggalin muna natin ng path. Oh no, all right, I just wanted to remove. Okay, and then that small green smudge on B. What I'd like to do is, if we have found a solution, and by solution here, I mean a particular way of selecting M and N that minimizes the total path.
I
The
mean,
length of MN is fixed
they're
kasi
just,
eh.
abo. Maybe you could base it on the distance from A and to M.
Ito, wait, let me change the color. Okay, let's make this red. And likewise, let's make this red as well.
Distance from
Sensibly, I think it would.
N to B would be longer.
Sensibly po, I think. Not no. Sensibly, I think po A to AM should be equal to BN, but that is just sensible.
AM should be equal to BN.
Abo.
Okay. Wait. That cannot be guaranteed kasi what if the situation were like this? Okay. Nung A nandito, tapos nung B mas malapit sa lower riverbank. Diba? So let's say A is much farther away from the closest riverbank than B is from the closest riverbank. So it cannot be based on making AM the same as
No.
BN.
Wait.
Diba?
Technically po, it can still be true. Kasi kung if we extend po MN, the river, then you can still make the distances equal.
Ayan, if we extend the river, what do you mean by extend the river? Lakihan ng river?
Extend the river po, yung makita po natin.
Such that BN will be equal to AN.
EM.
What do you mean extend the river like this?
Abo.
And I mean, of course, the river extends naman talaga eh. Pero what do you mean by, so let's say these are where A and B are.
So then, draw from a perpendicular or something. Something, it can be any po eh.
Ganyan.
And then that will be M, and then B to N. Wait, now doesn't have to be perpendicular pala po eh. Doesn't have to be perpendicular. As long as AM will be equal to BN. That is sure to.
Okay. So ganito. Let's say AM the same. So kumari ganito. Let's say this is AM. Tapos let's say that's 5 kilometers. And from B, we could draw this segment that's also 5 kilometers. Pero then, paano yun? Kasi that's not gonna be perpendicular anymore.
No.
Diba? And if you decided to locate M there, wouldn't it be cheaper if N is here and then you connect BN? Diba? So here BN would be less than 5 kilometers. That would definitely be part of a shorter path.
Yes.
All right.
This is a counter proof po. Good.
It's proven.
Okay. Ito. Wait.
Chalicery. Ang this is spider.
Here's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I've selected them.
And then you will copy paste it po.
And
Okay,
then-
okay. So assume the river is extremely small.
Galing.
Uh, and then connect
So
natin.
draw a straight line from A to B.
Mhm.
Now widen the river.
Okay, put the river banks back. Okay, put the river
Extreme.
banks back. Okay,
No,
sige
it's a
natin.
problem in translation. I forgot.
Okay, so ito nung ano nung M and N, and then balik natin ulit. Now it's just gonna be challenging how I'm gonna draw it. But you get the
The
idea, right?
sinners must pay for their sins.
All right, infidels. Okay.
Literally copy pasted in spite.
Okay. Ito nga, pinapahirapan na ako eh.
Bang 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 bang.
Ayan. Alright. Tapos, how pinapahirapan ko ng sarili ko. So, ano lang, i-drawing ko na nga lang. So, eto, riverbanks. So, you got the riverbank in blue. And then the one in red.
Galing.
Ay, pero na guess mo. So, ito na. Kasi ito ng A. And then, andito nung B. So, the shortest path should be the one based on the locations of M and N. Where if you were to translate either riverbank and its corresponding point to coincide with the other riverbank, then then okay, then the paths AM and NB should be parallel to each other. So ganun dapat. All right. So M and N should be characterized by the fact that AM and NB should be parallel to each other, meaning when M and N are compressed, A, M, and B should be collinear with each should be collinear, as we can see in the second figure. All right. So of course, it can be argued why that would constitute the shortest possible path. All right. Kasi nung length ng MN, it's not gonna change anything eh. Kasi the two riverbanks are fixed. So the length of MN is fixed. So what we need to minimize, okay, so what we need to minimize is AM plus NB. Kasi MN's length is fixed. Okay. But what if the situation was like this? Hindi ko na isusulat, dapat ibaba ko pa tong mga to. Ang dami-dami. Okay.
Literally, ano po, literally, at tawag na, ano call that again? Hindi house ba?
They're getting in the way. Okay. What if the situation was like this? So we have
A realistic river that isn't literally just parallel on both sides.
okay, so these are idealized situations. So we have one river, and then we have not just one, but two rivers.
Extreme. Then make one
And
of
they
then,
don't,
then translate
and,
both of them. Wait,
and then in
they are not the same. They're diagonal.
the widths of the rivers don't have to be the same, but will it make
Then
much
just
of
buy a
it?
helicopter.
Okay. All right. So same conditions. So when from A you get to the first riverbank, you should construct a bridge that's perpendicular to that blue river, and then ito, and then 90-degree angle here with the Red River, and then okay,
Why is the ano po the river red? Is it the blood of the enemies?
yes, all right, the enemies that you have vanquished, those who like copy pasting after they have been defeated, then you threw them into the river and then you left.
They are now one with the red river.
Okay. So you can figure out how to do it.
Mm, uh, uh, I think I think set a point in between the two rivers. Construct the shortest distance from there. From
From
A
between
to
the
that point, and then from that point to B. So that'll be the shortest from A to let's say P and P to B. So now we have to maximize. We have to make P collinear with B, AB. I guess that would work. Kasi
Paano
this
na
kind
yun?
of looks like a refraction problem.
Okay. So but can you describe it again? So kunwari, the
There's
only
already
things
P
that
pala. There's already P. So let's say I have a point. I have a point X in the middle of A and B.
okay,
Wait.
so
It's not mentioned pala na the the midpoint of A and B is in between. Okay, so make a point in between A and B and in between the rivers that is collinear to AB.
okay.
X. So
So yeah.
make the shortest path from E to X from the Blue River and from X to B from the Red River. And then connect those paths.
So
My
you're thinking of
calculation. Crazy.
okay. Kasi so you're suggesting we use a different color. So black. Okay. So A, connect A and B, and then let X be their midpoint, right?
Abo.
And then so do the same problem from so shortest path from A to X. So that would involve ayan, translation. So maybe it's better to move the M riverbank down to N. And then
And wow.
I'm not sure about this. I'll think about it. Okay. Kasi what if the midpoint?
It's still the same eh. Diba? Kung i-compress niyo, wait, kung i-compress niyo po both of the rivers until they are straight.
Yes. Okay. Kasi my problem here is what if X
It's fundamentally po the same solution.
okay, it's it's the same solution. Ganito problem kasi with this X approach is what if X falls in one of the rivers?
Then it doesn't have to be the midpoint of AB.
If it doesn't have to be the midpoint of AB, then how do you choose the point? Kasi so let's say
It's the midpoint of the something of the last the what? The end sort of
so from here to here.
wait.
So the midpoint of those points to guarantee that it's that X is on land.
Abo.
But then you'd have to justify that.
Make a solution.
Pero kasi ganito, you had the solution similar to the first one, di ba? How would you describe that solution? What's the solution?
Uh, think both.
You said do a solution that's similar to the first one.
Sabihin mo.
Oh, what
So
was that?
sabi mo, i-compress both rivers,
Yes,
right?
compress both of the rivers po until they are lines.
Okay. So how would you suggest doing that?
Uh,
Halimbawa, ito, what I did up here is the Red River Bank NB, we pushed it up to coincide with the Blue River Bank. So kumbaga, we did a translation.
okay, so then,
And then using what vector? Say this vector, which is perpendicular to either river bank and with the width of the river. So that's the vector translation. So ito, how would you describe the approach?
compress the first, ano po, compress the first river. Ah, wait, no,
Anong vector?
yes.
Anong direction? How do you...
So tell me, which are we gonna move? The upper or lower river bank?
Any. So, kind of, they will be the same, I don't know. Basta yung,
Okay,
ano,
so if we're gonna move the blue lower river bank up, are we also gonna move the red river according to the same
yes,
translation?
I already see po how this will work out. You compress, you compress both of them at the same time.
But by moving what? How? Anong
Ah,
direction?
Yeah, pero ano, how exactly?
Ano?
in both directions.
In upper
Compress,
river.
compress the upper river by its respective needed compression. Compress the second, the red river, by its also needed compression. Draw. Ano siya the animation eh.
Hindi, ano nga, paano yung direction? Both, are both sides moving towards each other, or one side is moving up, or the upper
Oh,
side is moving down? Ganun tinatanong sir.
so na ganon, yeah. Just so we are
Mostly one
precise.
side going up.
Okay, so the N river bank, move it up, going to the M river bank. And then when do I take it that you mean as the blue river bank gets translated up, then the red river banks also get translated in the same direction? Yes?
Abo.
Okay. And then once that's done, then compress the red river. So I suppose the Q river bank up to the P river bank.
Abo.
All right. And then connect A, B straight.
Abo.
All right. Okay. I wish I could draw it on paper. Pero kasi what I'm curious to figure out is whether kasi mangyayari, halimbawa here no, in this first solution, do you see that A, M, M, N, and B, if you're gonna connect A, B, okay, that segment connecting A, B, and their midpoint, it's not gonna be on the path. So ito kasi, ang concern ko about you choosing this point X, which is collinear with A and B, I'm not sure if that point X is gonna be kumbaga, on the shortest path, A, M, N, P, Q, B. Yeah, so there's no guarantee. But what is guaranteed that would lead to the shortest path is ayun nga, the dual application of the translation. Pwede din, ano, ang gawin,
Parang isipin
nung
ko
M
kasi
River
parang
Bank,
accord yun eh.
what's
So,
that?
parang may accord, dalawang accord yun. Nasa ibang
Oh,
direction. Draw with a pentel pen. Ngayon,
mhm.
expand mo. And then put
Oh.
the perpendicular lines. Parang
So
ganun
I
po.
guess maganda makita kung ano kung ito drawing. That's why I wasn't sure. Pwede then the M River Bank push down and then the Q River Bank push up. All right. Para kasi nung kanina, if you're gonna move the N River Bank up, then itatranslate mo din nung Red River Banks. Okay, so that's something that uh, is rather worthy to write down, but it can be attempted.
Either direction po ba will work? Kasi, di ba po, kunyari po, itong dalawang ball pens,
Mhm.
it will be guaranteed na shortest path magiging kasi
Perpendicular.
dapat perpendicular para maglalapat po sila all sides, di ba?
Yes, 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 yes.
So, either direction, kunyari po, if you move the M River bank
Mhm.
downwards and then you move the Q River bank upwards, will it work din po ba?
It would work. Ang naisip ko dito were ano parang the entire thing is on a sheet of paper. Tapos, when we're compressing the rivers, we are just folding the sheet of paper.
Ah, yes, yes.
Okay. So, parang how you fold
Proof by
uh
origami.
oh, so yeah, so it wouldn't matter kung ano nung uunahin natin, but yeah, it just needs to be described accurately. Okay. Okay, so ito naman. But then don't
One
worry
problem
kasi
lang po. 500 more
even
to go.
uh, so even though there are a lot of problems here, I don't intend for me to answer all of them. Some of them I'm gonna leave to you. Woohoo! All right, so here goes the next one. We have a hexagon A B C D E F. And what's so special about this hexagon is that opposite sides are parallel. So let me draw something. So A, B. And then here is B, C. Not drawn to scale. And then C, D. And then, okay, DE is opposite AB. So this is DE. And then EF is opposite BC. So they're parallel. And then FA is opposite CD. So they're the ones that are parallel. All right. So, okay. And then suppose BC minus EF, so that's the difference of the parallel pairs, equals ED minus AB equals AF minus CD. So those three differences are equal. So either they're all positive or they're all simultaneously negative. So suppose it's they're positive. Okay. Otherwise, if BC minus EF is negative, then we just reframe this as EF minus BC, and then AB minus ED, and then CD minus AF, so that we get a positive difference. But suppose BC is longer than EF, ED is longer than AB. Well, just so you have those negative differences. Show that the hexagon is equiangular, meaning all the six angles have the same measure. Well, in a hexagon, what would that equal angular measure have to be?
119 degrees plus 59 to the 0th power.
No, wait. Each of the six angles of the hexagon.
Yes, 120 degrees.
Sorry, I didn't hear it the first time. Okay, so yes, 120 degrees. We do know that a triangle is equilateral if and only if it is equiangular. But once you go to higher dimensions, they're not necessarily so. After all, a rectangle is equiangular, but it's not equilateral. A rhombus is equilateral, but it's not equiangular. A square
But
is
a
equiangular.
pentagon po is equilateral and equiangular.
Can we not draw a pentagon which is equiangular but not equilateral?
Impossible.
Possible, di ba?
Impossible po.
Or are you saying it's impossible?
Yes.
Oh, I'll think about that. Paano yun? So I just assumed, I mean, I never really did
Kung
give it much
non-concave po
thought.
kasi baka kung concave eh. Pero kung non-concave, convex siya, impossible.
No, wait, okay. In a pentagon, what's the, hold on, ano
Minus,
nung internal angle? Let's say it's uh, angular. So wait, 180, 360,
180.
180.
108.
So 108, no? 108. Let me try it on GeoGebra.
Global bro.
Di ba, di ba pwede mag-drawing ng ano ng
Ito pa yung
one
proof na conjecture test.
okay. Hold on na. Okay. So let alpha wait, naka-share na ba?
Hindi pa po.
Okay. Let alpha be 108 and then ala sino symbols degrees. Okay. Let
Ha?
108
May conjecture.
degrees. All right, and then let me start with a point. Ito, let's say the origin.
Pwedeng gumano mag-stretch pagka.
A, and then let me choose another point.
Kung hindi,
Ito,
hindi.
B. Tapos, so, all right, there you go. And then I want to draw angle with given size.
At ito talaga po, GeoGebra, may ano po eh, may angle with given.
Ito, angle alpha, and then let's make it clockwise.
May ano ko.
Ayan.
Wala.
So, ito nung line. And then let me hide point A. And then dito, let's choose any other point. So we have that flexibility C.
So
No.
Ano po yan?
ano po eh, dapat equiangular and equilateral.
For odd number of sides.
Yun daw po yung conjecture niya.
Conjecture. Pero tingnan natin if we can come up with a way to, but that is actually interesting.
Ay, hindi,
Ito
pwede,
naman.
pwede.
Pwede bang hindi?
Pwede. Pwede pong equiangular na hindi equilateral.
All right. Okay. Pero na-intrigue ako
Ano
eh.
na po, two semi-opposite sides. Shorten. Okay, elongate.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Tuloy ka na dito na clockwise. And then the same angle alpha. Ayan. And then line. And then I'm gonna choose an arbitrary point there, D. Let me hide B prime and the line. So yeah. And then from there, one more. Okay. Alpha clockwise.
Pwede po possible na hindi pala equilateral. Yun pong equilateral siya, tsaka equiangular. Tapos you draw a parallel line to one of the sides. Then it becomes...
All right. O nga pala. Start with the regular pentagon. Tapos, yeah, gets, di ba? So pwede. Actually, therefore, it can be argued that, for any n, that's at least 4. You could draw an equiangular polygon, which is not equilateral. All right.
No po.
Okay, gets. Okay, so hindi ka natutuloy. Okay. So ito, so given those differences, show that every angle of this hexagon is 120 degrees. Sa ganito, no? Kasi, if you look at the conditions, BC and EF, BC minus EF. So what we gotta do is, we gotta be able to utilize that. No, BC minus EF. Right now, BC and EF are, well, they are far away from each other, BC and EF, so you cannot really effectively take the difference. So what we can do is, how about we consider a translation? Ito, FE, let's move this closer to BC. But in what sense are we gonna move
No,
it
no, 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 no,
closer?
no,
What?
no, no.
No.
I see it, I see it, I see it.
Sige, what do you see?
If you squish the ano po, you squish the hexagon by bringing FE closer and closer to FBC. Ah,
Wait, paano
wait.
yan?
Wait.
Move FE to where?
If BC minus EF is equal to ED minus AB is equal to AF minus CD, it's greater than 0. Ah, wait, it's greater than 0 pala.
So yun nga, BC is longer than FE.
That's a problem.
Okay. There ito. What if we move FE here? FE there.
Oh, it suddenly looks three-dimensional because it looks like a cube.
Yes.
And then, nung BC naman, i-move natin dito.
Ah, yes. So somehow po the lines are not concurrent.
Ayun. So
Sad.
mangyayari, we're gonna get this. Ito, we're gonna get that. So that's the difference. BC minus EF. Okay. And then, ang pagsamahin naman natin, ED and AB. However, AB, ito nung AB, actually, this segment is already a translation of AB. Right? Ang segment na yon, translation siya ng AB. Kasi by moving BC to that orange segment through A that's parallel to BC, what we formed there is a parallelogram. So that means AB and that other green segment through C, they are parallel and congruent to each other because they have a parallelogram. And then on the other hand, if we translate ED through here, okay, we can then perform the subtraction of the lengths. ED minus AB will be the difference of those green segments, but then that's going to be the length of this segment, which I'm also going to draw in red because that will be of a length equal to the value of these common differences. Lastly, what about AF? AF is, what color am I going to use? Purple. This is AF. AF is actually this when you translate. That's AF. And what about CD? This is CD. And the difference AF and CD would be the difference of the lengths of those purple segments, which should be that. Okay. So what does that imply about the red triangle? What's the implication on the red triangle?
I do not know. It will
Okay.
becomes so it's like so this is like the ano po the shrinking yung ano po pa how do you prove the external angles are all sum up to 360 sort of.
And I mean, if you look at ito, no lengths of these three segments, these are the lengths of those red sides. And these differences are equal. And these differences are the lengths of those three sides. So therefore, these three sides in red
So
are all equal.
the triangle is equilateral.
Yeah, equilateral, which means the angle there is 60 degrees, which means we could then look at outside that red triangle, we have drawn three parallelograms
So
whose
those are
angles are
120.
therefore 120 and 60 degrees. And then we could use that to deduce the angles of the six angles, they must all be 120 degrees. And that's it. That's how the hexagon is equiangular.
Apo.
Okay. So ito. Uh, translate. Okay. EF. So F is mapped to A. Wait, gawin natin. Translate EF to a P. So ibig sabihin, this point must be P. And then translate BC to AQ. So that means B gets sent to A. So where C gets sent to, that must be point Q. So then here we see that AQ, well, in particular PQ equals AQ minus AP, but then AQ is BC and AP is EF. So yeah, BC minus EF. Okay. So let that be K, where K is BC minus EF equals ED minus AB equals AF minus CD. And then next is translate. So let's find a way to define this point to be R. This time it's ED. Translate ED to RC. Okay. Okay. And then so ED tapos AB. Okay. The translation, which brings B to C, brings A to Q. All right, we don't need to define Q because that's already defined. And then from these two, so we get to conclude that QR, which is CR minus CQ, CR is ED, and then CQ is AB, but then ED minus AB is K. And then similarly, it can be shown that PR equals K. Thus, because the red triangle has all its sides congruent, PQR is an equilateral triangle. So that's how we get, for instance, here we have 60 degrees. And so that would make this, oh wait, hold on, sorry. What I drew there, that's not 60 degrees, that must be 120 degrees. Okay, 120 degrees, 60 degrees, and then this is going to be 120 degrees, 120 degrees. So this is 60, 60 degrees, 120 degrees, 60 degrees, and so forth and so on. And then by angle chasing, it can be shown that the 6 angles of the hexagon are all 120 degrees. Okay. From the figure, it follows that the 6 angles of the hexagon are all 120 degrees. So kailangan nilang kumpletuhin ng 120, 60 degrees, 60 degrees, 120 degrees. Okay. Now time to move all these. I think I got to move them all the way down. So let me zoom out to make the translation. So that's what I gotta do. Haha, I gotta translate these text boxes all the way down.
You know po, you can just literally select all of them at once.
But if I select all of them at once, isn't that also gonna select what's upstairs? What's up there? And I've selected them, and then yeah.
Bro. Literally.
So yeah. All right. Balik na tayo. Of course, here we use the fact that from the figure, okay, since A, B, C, Q, and then C, R, E, D, and then F, E, P, A are parallelograms. All right, it follows that the 6 angles of the hexagon are all 120 degrees. Okay, now ito next. Have you encountered the word locus? So when we talk about so ellipse, so it's a certain locus of points satisfying a particular condition. So here,
the locus is sort of a trace. All the
yeah, the trace, the trace.
What happens? What comes up when all of the points are plotted?
Right. When all the points satisfying a certain property are plotted. So here we're trying to find a locus of points satisfying a particular property. It's a collection of points M such that the distances from 2 given non-parallel lines L1 and L2, the sum of the distances is equal to a given constant A. So let's draw those 2 non-parallel lines. You've encountered this before?
No, but I think the sum of whose distances. Wait.
So here are lines L1, and let's say this is line L2. L2. And then we're looking for points M. Let's say here is one such point M, such that its distance from L1, so that would be this. So when you drop the perpendicular, let's say it meets L1 at P, and then when you drop the perpendicular from M to L2, let's say it meets L2 at point Q. So the condition is that M is on the locus if MQ plus MP is equal to this given constant A. Okay. Yikes. How do we find all the other? So kunwari, M is a point, and then MQ plus MP is equal to A.
I think it's a hyperbola.
You think it's a hyperbola?
Or something resembling a hyperbola between the two lines, because then eventually, but there will be an M that is that the distances are too short to satisfy A, and then
Mhm.
there are at least 2 points on either side that have the same sum, so it will form sort of a curve that follows the line. It will be asymptotic to the line eventually.
Okay, so you're thinking something like this, parang ganito, no? Something like that.
Something like that.
All right, and then, all right, so parang hyperbola could be, could be. Uh, However, pero kasi, couldn't point also be, let's say, ito na nung M. Um, so ito, let's say we preserve the length MQ, and then let's say it's hindi ba pwede. Let's say what, so kunwari, this is 3 units and this is 5 units. So 3 is the distance from line 2, and then 5 is the distance from line 1. Hindi ba pwede, kunwari naman, 3 is the distance from line 1, and then 5 is the distance from line, uh, ano yun? Trying to draw it. Uh,
So that it is with that curve and also the lines the lines themselves.
the
Some
lines, the
portions of the lines themselves.
okay. Sige nga, tignan natin ano nung ano, kung hyperbola nga ba. So,
Or something
what,
resembling a hyperbola like that.
but of course, if we feel it's a hyperbola, then that should be something that we should, something we should be able to justify. So ganito, MQ plus MP is equal to 8. And right now, kasi if you look at MQ plus MP, ang hirap i-describe kasi, well, all we get are those two segments that are perpendicular to lines 1 and line 2. It might help if we are able to describe the situation. Uh, so kumbaga, do you remember this problem where um, merong riverbank, and then you have to travel from A to B, but instead of traveling from A to B in a straight line, you have
The
to,
mirror.
di ba? So mirror, di ba? And the thing is, the if this is X and Y, if you look at the reflection of A across that riverbank, okay, this is also going to be X. And
Opo.
then we decided, hey, if we want to minimize X plus Y, then we should connect A prime and B by a straight segment. And that's how we get to determine the correct point of visit to the riverbank. All right. So instead of thinking in terms of A to P to B, it was easier to consider the equivalent statement where we travel not from A to B, but instead we start at A prime. Okay, di ba? We were able to solve the problem more conveniently by looking not at A, but rather at A prime. So here, I would like to propose we do something so that, like the riverbank problem, from A to B, we were able to look at not a jagged path, but rather a straight path. So here kasi QMP, they're not collinear. So what we could do is, let's say if we have this particular solution, what would happen if we were to reflect MP like so? Ganito. Hmm. All right. So we want MP to be congruent to this. So let's call this P prime. P prime. Okay. Tapos nung MQ and nung Q, M, and P prime, they're collinear with each other. Okay. But then if you look at this figure, okay, ang mangyayari, Q P prime, okay, Q P prime would not be equal to A. In other words, the distance of P prime from Q is equal to this constant A, but because Q is a point on L2, what this means is that the distance of P prime from line L2 is A. Okay, kita mo ng transition. So P prime is a point whose distance from line L2 is equal to A. So what I would like to suggest is, okay, let's translate. Okay, L2, okay, in the direction, okay, of QM, okay, over a distance equal to A. So ano ang lalabas ngayon? It would be this line. Let me make it, there nga. Ito na lalabas ngayon. Let's call this L2 prime. Okay, so L2 is sent to L2 prime, and then the distance between them is A units. A units. Okay. But then I wish I was able to make this larger, but look at this quadrilateral that's formed. M, P prime, and then P, and then let's call this point A. What do you notice about that quadrilateral?
It is a parallelogram.
Okay. Tapos of course, we're also gonna get, kasi L2 and L2 prime are parallel to each other, and then MQ is perpendicular to line 2, but then P prime, M and Q are collinear. So at P prime, we also have a 90-degree angle. Okay, so ito M, and then P, and then A, and then so we have a 90-degree angle here, and then at P prime, going to A. What is A? The intersection of line 1 with the new L2 prime. Okay. What do we notice about this quadrilateral?
Yeah, kite.
It's a kite. Okay, it's a kite. So you have those 90-degree angles. And furthermore, if you were to connect M and A, you got these angles bisected, right?
Abo.
You got those angles bisected. But then PA is a member of line 1. And what about AT prime? That's a member of L2 prime. Okay. In other words, M is on the angle bisector, all right, M is on the bisector of the angle of intersection of L1 and L2 prime. Okay. Okay, so far.
Opo.
Okay, what this gives us is a criterion. Okay, some points on the bisector of L1 and L2 prime. So again, sorry, kumbaga. Okay, L1 and then ano given L1 and L2, di ba? Tapos how did L2 prime come about? We took L2 and translated it a units, and that gave us L2 prime. And then L2 prime and L1, they intersect at point A. And then at the angle that's formed, draw the angle bisector, and then M, a point which satisfies the conditions of the problem, is on that angle bisector. Okay, so this gives us a criterion for the locus described in the problem. We therefore would want to look at the angle bisector. Okay, because that angle bisector will contain some of the points that we want. Pero kasi, we translated L2 to L2 prime going down, pero di ba pwede rin naman natin i-translate ng L2 in the other direction going up. And let's call that L, wagin natin tong L2 double prime naman. L2 double prime. And then where is the intersection of L1 and this time L2 prime? Here. Let's call this point B. And then what we would like to do is consider the angle bisector of ng two lines. Actually, going back to point A, okay, drawing ko ng angle bisector ha. Ito ng angle bisector. Okay. That's not the only angle bisector eh. Kasi pwede rin naman ito. Diba? Angle bisector rin yun. Angle bisector rin yun. Okay. Sige nga, tignan natin. If you choose a point on that particular angle bisector, will it also lead to the same sum? Halimbawa, ito. Gamit tayo ng ibang color. Ito nung bagong point M natin. And so that we're not that confused, its distance from line 1, tawagin natin, or at least yung projection niya, we have other letters, let's call it point R. And then its distance from line 2, let's call it, yung projection niya, S. S. So MR plus MS, is it going to be equal to A? Ayun nung question. And the answer is going to be yes. Kasi kung nung M, so ito may 90 degrees tayo doon, no? Kung nung M, S, itiratso natin this way to intersect here at R prime. So we know that itong distance between the two lines L2 and L2 prime, that's equal to A, right? Equal yan sa A. So we know that R prime S is equal to A. So that means MS plus M R prime is definitely equal to A. But because that green segment is part of the angle bisector between the two lines at A, so that means this angle and this angle, they're congruent. But then you have a 90-degree angle and a 90-degree angle there. So that means A R M and A R prime M, they are congruent right triangles. Why are they congruent? Well, they share the same hypotenuse AM, and then they share those angles marked in purple at A. So that makes them congruent, which means that MR equals MR prime. So we get to replace this equation, MS plus MR prime, with MS plus MR, and that's going to be A. So ibig sabihin, this other point M, which is on that green segment, that's also going to be part of the locus. Okay, so it's not just that first green segment that we drew, but also this other red to this other green segment. Tapos, tapos from point B, okay. Tapos if we extend this, do you see that it should dun siya tutuloy? Why? Kasi look, L2 prime, L2 double prime, ito, and L2 prime, single prime and double prime, parallel sila. So that means this angle and this angle in green are congruent. So that means their angle bisectors, itong purple na to, their angle bisectors should be the same. Okay, which means, okay, if this is angle X, this should be angle X, which means this green segment and this green segment should be parallel to each other. Okay. In fact, what's going to happen is that the locus that we're looking for would be all the points on this rectangle. Okay. Medyo, it takes a little bit of getting used to. Okay, pero ito ng claim. Okay, the locus of M is the rectangle formed by the bisectors of the angles where L1 intersects L2 prime and L2 double prime. Okay, let's convince ourselves in GeoGebra. So file, new, don't save. Ito. Drawing tayo na, let us say the horizontal axis, that's line 1. So can I color this ng x-axis, x-axis? Okay, I suppose I can't color it. So gawin ko na lang y equals 0, and then let me hide the x-axis. Ayan. So this is line 1. Let's color it, sige, black. Then let me label this basic L1. Ayan, L1. So this is L1. And then drawing tayo ng ano, as anong origin. So let me choose a point. Ito, an arbitrary point. Then let me connect that with the origin. And then line through point A and the origin. Ayan. Then let me hide, oops. A and the origin. All right. Let me hide the axes and point A. And instead of G, let's call this caption L2. All right, ito nung L2. And then let's say we have a given length, A equal to 4. Okay. Tapos, let's consider a ito, nung translation. So I'm gonna define a vector as nung origin, or ito, A. And then I want a vector of length 4, but perpendicular to L2. So let me draw a perpendicular line. Tapos I want a vector having length 4. So through A, and then radius is 4, so that's A. Ang laki pala. Okay. But, okay. Let me hide the things I don't need. Okay. So ito nung vector from A to B. Vector from A, B. Ayan. Ayun yung vector of translation. Its length is 4. So liitan ko nung ano, nung vector length. Gawin natin 2 lang. Ayan. Okay. Tapos what we want is the collection of all points such that ang distance niya from line 1 and L2 is 2 units. So that's the value of A. So nung argument natin is translate L2 by the vector U, well, and the opposite of vector U, so in both directions. So hide ko nung, all right. So ito nung, wait. So that's the vector. Okay. So meron tayong translate line L2, which is line G, according to the vector U. Ayan. And then translate line G, which is L2, in the opposite naman, so negative of the vector U. Ayan. So ito ng translations, these two lines. Let's nung L2 i-color natin ng blue, and then the translations gawin natin blue as well, but let's keep them dashed. So yun ang translations. And then let's look at the points of intersection of line 1 in black with the two translations. So ayan. And then here's the other intersection. All right. So now ang gawin natin, tignan natin nung bisectors. Nung bisectors at C and D. So para verify natin. Okay. Angle bisector. Do we have an angle bisector here? Meron. Okay. But let me select a point here. Ito. So one angle bisector, ito. All right. And then another angle, hindi pa ako isang point dito. Another angle bisector would be this. Ayan. Okay. So those are the angle bisectors through D. And then let's do the same for point C naman. Okay. Let me choose a point here and also here. Okay. So this angle bisector, okay, between line 1 and that blue dashed, and another angle bisector through C. All right, ayan. And then let me hide these. Okay. So what we have formed is a rectangle. Our claim is that the points on the rectangle are the locus. Okay, yun yung locus. Kasi, sige nga, verify natin. Let me remove the lines. Wait, or itong segment. Wait, ng rectangle. Okay, but that's too dark. So palitan ko lang ng opacity. And let's make it a nice color green. Okay, so ngayon, pili tayo ng point. Point on this here. Okay, tapos its distance from lines 1 and 2. There. Kaso nung line 1 nandun sa baba. So perpendicular line through here and here. All right, so yun yung shadow no point L. Okay, tawagin natin to point P. So that's the distance from line 1. Line 2 is blue. So perpendicular from K to line 2. And so this should be, let's call it point Q. And then let me hide ito. And then, ang concern natin, the lengths of KQ and KP, those have lengths P and Q. So P plus Q is going to be a number. Ayan o, that's this number B. And observe that ito nung number B. And as I move point Q, so kung mapapansin mo, nagbabago ng length ng segments, but the sum of the lengths.
Para po siyang zipline.
Okay, but the sum of the lengths stays at 2.
Zipline
Okay.
and the cucumber.
Alright. And then the question would be, bakit kailangan within the rectangle tayo? What would be so wrong if lumabas tayo sa rectangle? Okay.
Mas malaki na po.
Mas lalaki na posibleng lumampas na. So wait, K is a point on, I want this to be a point on line K. Okay. Kasi kung lalabas na siya sa rectangle, ayun, tamo, nung B lumampas na sa 2 units. Okay, kasi mangyayari, halimbawa, from point K, going down to line 1, parang lalaki na siya ng lalaki. Definitely, lalampas na dun sa 2 units. Okay, so we have to stay within the rectangle. Okay, and then it's the same if we choose the other four sides. All right, so back to the OneNote. Medyo it takes a bit of getting used to it. I mean, how do you feel? Okay, ganito, the other problems say here, um, you can try out ito. Kasi there's more to be drawn here. Itong problem which I highlighted. I don't know if you want to try this related problem to the previous one. Find the locus of points M where the difference of its distances from L1 and L2. So instead of the sum, it's the differences which have to be equal to A. Okay. So baka kung ako, I think I'd like to experiment with this instead. Ito in ABC. So drawing mo na lang, D, E, and F are the midpoints of sides. And then mag-drawing tayo ng mga circumcircles and in-centers. And then show that Q1, Q2, Q3, and O1, O2, O3 are congruent. Okay. So let's continue the discussion next time. But even if you don't try this, so meron pang other problems from past sessions. All right? Okay. So pahinga ka na, Joshua. Parang ano, it's been a long day for you.
Opo.
Okay. Sige.
Thank
All
you.
right, Sergey, Joshua, have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye po.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you.